An ear-splitting, animalistic shriek sliced through the night. He'd witnessed beasts suffer. He'd listened to them cry out in pain. But this was something new. This was something that didn't just chill his blood, but the very marrow in his bones. The demon let out another haunting yowl, not just reverberating around the yard outside, but somehow squeezing through the jagged gaps in the door and filling the kitchen with hell's torment. Murdo continued to shake as he stood there staring towards the entrance, waiting for the next wave of the attack. Whatever it was beyond the oaken barrier let out another tortured screech, and then silence. A minute passed, then 2, then 3. It was a full 10 minutes before Murdo finally lowered his shotgun. Sweat was streaming down his back as well, and he knew better than anyone that it wasn't just down to the licking flames of the fire behind him. He took a single tentative step towards the entrance, then another before pausing and staring towards the ruptured hole in the door. His imagination ran wild trying to conjure an image of what kind of beast could shred solid oak in such a way. He took another step, then another, before finally reaching out and sliding the bolt across. He waited again for a moment, then pulled on the handle and allowed the door to swing inwards, half expecting something to come hurtling at him from the foggy darkness beyond the entrance. But nothing did. His eyes immediately focused on a patch of black on the ground. He retraced his steps into the house to grab his torch, and when he returned and focused the beam, he saw that it wasn't black at all, but red. It was blood, the same colour blood as that of any beast he had ever encountered. He stepped out of the house, avoiding the crimson puddle, and walked farther into the farmyard, panning the torch from side to side and clutching the shotgun as firmly as ever. Rebecca and the others were quiet, but not silent. The anguish in their voices seemed to have dissipated. The dense mist still hung over the yard and surrounding land, but further splotches and streaks of red cut a path towards the forest. Murdo's heart slowed a little, and he took in a deep lungful of air, countering any effects of the whiskey that may still have lingered in his system. One by one his senses began to return to him, and despite the evidence suggesting the threat was over, he felt uneasy being out in the open and headed back to the house. He leaned the shotgun up against the wall, locked the door, and slid the bolt across before marching over to the telephone. He picked up the receiver, and it was only when he tried to dial that he noticed his hands were still trembling. He took another breath and tried his hardest to focus, slowly keying one digit after another. "William," he blurted as his call was answered. "It's Murdo. It came back." "What came back?" asked William Monroe, the leader of the island council and elder of the church. "What do you think?" There was a long silence on the other end of the phone before Murdo continued. "I got it, though. I got a shot off and it ran. It ran towards the forest." "You shot it? Have you been drinking, Murdo?" Murdo looked towards the whiskey. "No,